Hey, what is going on, guys? What's happening? YouTube, thank you for tuning into Rules for Rebels. Now, you guys may have seen the video last night. I did a video talking about how Nike is no longer going to be selling on Amazon. They're ending a pilot program or a test that they started back in 2007, selling product kind of in partnership directly with Amazon to sell on the platform. And Nike had decided that they wanted a more personal relationship with their customers. And I think part of that is not only did they want a more personal relationship with their customers, we kind of talked about how they're doing experiential retail. They're really pushing their own website. They're pushing their own store. They're doing a lot of customized products. But in addition to having a more personalized relationship with their customers, I'm sure they actually want to own their own customers as well. And we all know how when you sell on a platform like eBay, you don't own your customers. You're essentially renting customers from Amazon, or you're a guest on their platform, but you're not able to collect your customers' emails. You're not able to get them to opt into Facebook Messenger messaging. You're not able to get their phone numbers so that you can do SMS messaging. You're really just borrowing customers from Amazon, and I'm sure Nike wants to have their own relationships and actually kind of control their own customers. And this is kind of a trend we're seeing with a lot of brands. What this video today is kind of all about, I happen to see a Reddit post kind of talking about this. And this Reddit post, which you're actually looking at now, is actually in the r/investing, or the investing Reddit. And it was kind of interesting seeing people's perspectives on Amazon and how they feel about Amazon today versus kind of a couple years ago. And why I thought this was especially interesting, I think a lot of times as marketers or e-commerce sellers, we look at things a lot differently than the general public. And I'll just give you an example. Like, I remember, I think two Christmases ago, right around Christmas time, I picked my sister up from the airport. She was coming into Chicago. She lives out in Ohio, and she was coming in, and as we were driving home, we were talking, and she was asking me about selling. She knows I sell on Amazon and stuff, and she was asking me about that, and it was kind of interesting. Basically, I kind of opened her eyes to the fact, and I'm surprised more people don't know this, but she kind of assumed when I buy something that has the Amazon Prime tag on it, or when a box that says Amazon shows up in the mail, she kind of assumed that everything sold on Amazon Prime was sold by Amazon. And I was like, dude, you know what I do. I sell on Amazon. But she hadn't wrapped her head around the fact that it's third-party sellers like you and I who make up, well over half of all items sold on Amazon. She just kind of assumed that everything was coming from Amazon. And I think a lot of people kind of make that assumption, but that's just kind of one example of how the general public kind of sees things different than marketers. Another example could be like drop shipping. Like when I see a drop shipping store, like an AliExpress store, drop shipping store, I can spot it a mile away. But to your average consumer, like maybe they really do think that this store just has a relationship with the factory in China who's shipping it direct. Whereas like, people like you and me who are marketers or e-commerce sellers, we see that from a mile away. And so what I thought was interesting about this, I know a lot of you guys who watch my channel, you guys know about Amazon and Amazon FBA and selling platforms like eBay or Etsy or whatever else. And so I think a lot of times we look at things differently than the general public. Like when I look at Amazon, I see 1,000 private label products. And part of what actually is making the Amazon experience worse, in my opinion, is like if I go to look for a coffee grinder, I don't find the best coffee grinders out there. I find the coffee grinder from the Chinese seller who managed to get 5,000 people to do fake purchases on their product, or who used a bot farm to buy 5,000 of their coffee grinders to rise up into the top of the searches. And so on Amazon, we're not necessarily getting the best products or the best reviewed products. We're getting the products from the people who could game the Amazon algorithm the best, which tends to be Chinese factories. And go and search for like a crank coffee grinder, or a manual coffee grinder, or just a coffee grinder in general. And you guys know about private labeling. Like if you look on Amazon, I bet you on the first page of Amazon, of those 50 products displayed, there's probably 30 of the exact same identical coffee grinder. Maybe somebody uses like a wood knob on the top of the crank and somebody else uses a plastic one. But ultimately, these are the same products and everybody's just slapping their private label on them, right? So mine is Jim's coffee grinder, and the other one is Bill's Cafe coffee grinder, and the other one is the Roastery coffee grinder. But at the end of the day, they're all the same fucking coffee grinder from the same handful of factories in China. And it's kind of frustrating. And somebody in this thread actually made a comparison to Costco, and they said, when you go to Costco, yeah, there's not as much of a selection as on Amazon, but they said Costco does a really good job of curating items you need, interesting items, but also having the highest quality items out there. Costco really strives to have the best quality, the best items out there, and Costco has a great, really generous return policy where you can pretty much bring anything back at any time, even if you've broken it, because they really pride themselves on carrying high quality goods. And we're not just talking about the Kirkland brand. We're talking about, everything that they bring in from all different brands, like they only source the best. And so if I had a choice between shopping on Amazon versus Costco, like I do a lot of my shopping on Costco. I don't shop on Amazon as much anymore these days. Anyhow, kind of what I'm getting at here is I just thought it was interesting to see. I'm guessing people in the investing subreddit aren't necessarily private label Amazon FBA sellers or marketers. So we're kind of getting a picture from kind of how the average consumer views Amazon. And I was kind of surprised that overall it was fairly negative, right? Like a lot of people were like, look, I used to love Amazon. It used to be the cheapest prices out there. People are actually using the word private label and Alibaba. Like people are saying, Amazon wasn't always 300 of the same private label item. Amazon used to be, good prices. Now it's not really any better than Walmart or Target. And so people are kind of starting to see through Amazon. The overall experience doesn't seem to be as good. People talk about like there's too many ads on Amazon. And we'll kind of read through some of these comments. I just kind of thought it was interesting hearing kind of the average customer's perspective. One other thing I wanted to mention about the whole like Nike going off Amazon and Birkenstock and a lot of these other big brands is one thing I will say, if you're an unknown brand or you have some private label item, like, yeah, it's going to be a tougher decision for you to decide not to sell on Amazon because over 63% of U.S. households do have Amazon. A lot of people shop on Amazon. Over 50% of all e-commerce done online is on Amazon. So you as a small brand trying to get known or trying to get in front of people, like Amazon's a lot more valuable to you or I than it is to a company like Nike. People like Nike, people seek out Nike, people are going to go looking for Nikes, and if Nikes aren't on Amazon, like maybe they'll lose out on a little bit of business, but ultimately at the end of the day, people are going to go to Nike.com or they're going to go to Dick's Sporting Goods and they're going to buy their Nike thing. Same with North Face and any other brand. So I get for smaller brands, smaller companies, private label brands, this isn't as easy as a decision to make. One other thing, like I think if you're selling like Keurig coffee pods or phone chargers or things like that, like, yeah, it makes more sense to be on Amazon because people really do value the cheap and the fast, the 2-day prime shipping. Whereas a company like Nike, like most people aren't buying a pair of Nikes every week or every 2 weeks or even every month. So if you wind up having to pay for shipping or the shipping isn't in 2 days, most people aren't really going to overthink that. But products that people buy over and over and over on a regular basis, well, yeah, that may sway people to go to Amazon. So anyhow, here was a Reddit post. It says, brands don't need Amazon. Nike's decision to no longer sell merchandise through Amazon shows that strong brands are realizing that traffic driven to their own site is self-sustaining, more profitable, and actually brand enhancing. And this comes from a CNBC article. Jefferies analyst Randy Koenig said Amazon had a delivery speed advantage, but that advantage has compressed. Evercore ISI analyst Omar Saad wonders if the other brands will follow Nike's lead. It is clear to see how cutting out Amazon and focusing on direct sales could significantly reduce costs for Nike and other brands. Nike was up 2% at the close of PE of 31x current year estimates. This is not a recommendation to buy or sell stocks. Stocks are risky and not suitable for everybody. Please do your own research. So I actually hadn't read that article yet for myself. I'm going to read that one. I'll link to that down in the description box below. And I kind of touched on this last night. I'll also put my video in the description box below that we did yesterday if you happen to miss that one. One thing I do think is interesting, obviously I deal with a lot of different e-commerce brands. I've been going to a lot of marketing conferences and e-commerce conferences and just kind of seeing what like the keynote speeches and talks are about, seeing kind of what, obviously it's all business owners that are there, seeing what people are doing. It's really interesting. There's about half of the crowd who's like, oh my God, Amazon is taking over the world. I have to figure out how to get on Amazon to not lose that market share and to get in front of, half of the e-commerce customers out there. But you also have the other half of the crowd who are trying to figure out ways to compete with Amazon or to get off of Amazon, or to just kind of maintain their own customer relationships, not through platforms. Like Amazon's kind of the leading platform, but in general, there is kind of a platformization of e-commerce happening. Obviously, Target's pushing their e-commerce, their buy online, pick up in store. Same with Walmart, same with a lot of other stores. So let's hop on down here and kind of see what people are saying. It can work for high margin brands. I can't see Coke or Hershey selling their products directly. And that's kind of what I was saying before, cheap consumer goods, things that people buy on a regular basis, that's going to be a little bit more attractive to not have to go into the store every week to get coffee creamer or coffee pods or whatever else. So something like that, yeah, I might buy on Amazon. But a pair of Nikes or even really any, like they said, strong brand, there's much less need for them to be on Amazon. Personally, for the longest time, I wanted to buy things through Amazon. However, the past 6 months or so, I just avoid them if possible. It seems like there are a lot of scams, and it's hard to find real products that aren't effective. Some sort of consistent third-party customer service across brands, and I'd be happy to ditch Amazon because I don't really want to have to understand Nike's return policy. I use Amazon maybe once or twice a year for items I can't find in stores. Amazon is not cheaper than physical stores anymore, and the user experience has become progressively worse over the years due to ads and constant push for Prime membership. Not to mention most products are cheaper and crappier than what you'd find in even a Walmart. And then here's somebody who, keep in mind, this isn't an e-commerce or a marketing forum. It's easy to spot the Alibaba specials that all look the same, have a different made-up company name, and avoid them. The thing is with their so let's see. Most reputable sellers don't seem to select commingling for their inventory. I've never encountered a fake from a reputable seller. You can order a SanDisk card listed as shipped and sold by Amazon and get a fake card. That's because Amazon puts them all on the same stack. And I don't know if you guys know this. I think there was a big media thing about this a couple years ago. But one of the items that you never, ever, ever want to buy on Amazon is SD cards. Like, I don't know if the situation has improved, but like, couple years back, there was like an 80 to 85% chance that you were going to get a fake SD card. And what they're talking about with commingling, when you sell items on Amazon, you can choose to have your stuff warehoused by itself, or you can allow your stuff to be basically commingled and thrown in a big box with other people's stuff. So if you, me, and Tom are all selling the same 16 gigabyte SD card, I can choose to have mine held separately from you guys, but I think it's a little bit cheaper, if I'm not mistaken, to commingle, and it'll just throw all our SD cards in a box. But if I have legit SD cards and you and Tom have fake SD cards, my customers are going to be getting fake SD cards, even though I'm paying significantly more for the real thing. And this ships from China label, incredibly frustrating. I bought a bike lock off Amazon a couple weeks ago, and I could have swore it had the Prime label on it. Maybe I was mistaken, or maybe I wasn't paying attention. But shit, man, I see a delivery date of like 6 weeks out. Emailed the seller like literally right after I purchased. He refused to take a return. He's like, sorry, already in the process. And I had to wait 6 weeks for a bike lock that showed up. And it was about 2 feet shorter than it was advertised. And I mean, you literally could have cut through it with a pair of scissors. Complete garbage, and Amazon hasn't really been very helpful in getting me a return. Let's see, Walmart is a 15-minute drive from me and has higher quality products guaranteed to not be counterfeit. And with a simple return policy, 90% of all things and electronics I buy from Amazon turn out to be counterfeit. I think this person might hate Amazon and be exaggerating a little, but I find it hard to believe 90% of the things, although that is a significant problem on Amazon. My wife ordered one of those illustrated Harry Potter books and was just tossed into an oversized, poorly taped box. Corners were beat to shit, and it looked like a secondhand product. Nothing is safe. Their quality has gone down, and the result of overworked and poorly treated employees. This person says, I'm one of those weirdos who prefer going to a physical store to purchasing what I need the same day. I was going to be doing maybe a Black Friday, getting ready for Black Friday Q&A in the next couple days here. And that's actually one of the things I was going to talk about. One of the big pushes right now is BOPIS, buy online, pick up in store. And that's something that's been pushed really hard. Not everybody has brick and mortar stores, obviously, but if you do, that's something a lot of people have been pushing for. I was trying to help one brand that I work with get set up with that. They have a number of stores. Unfortunately, like the inventory management and making sure, they have a huge catalog of like 20,000 products. And so making sure that everything would be available at every store when people ordered, and we wouldn't have people buying things and showing up to pick up a product that wasn't there, just wound up being too much of a headache. So I think that might happen down the road, but not going to happen in time for Black Friday. Let's see, this is where I am. There's really no price advantage anymore. The only real positives are a broad selection and savings of travel and shopping time. I can get stuff delivered that may be an hour or two away from a physical retail, for example, specific brand model of pressure washer, or that I don't want to stand in line with the plebs at Walmart for. Saving the non-monetary transaction costs, gas time, frustration with a trainee cashier is still worth it in many scenarios, but the value proposition isn't nearly what it used to be. 5% cash back on every purchase and free one-day delivery is a pretty huge advantage. Only if you get what you're buying and it actually arrives when they say it will. I've had so many Prime 2-day guaranteed items to get delayed a week, and Amazon does nothing but shrug. Their delivery guesses are a joke, and the counterfeits are a problem. You know, I did a video about this a while back when Amazon made the big push for one-day shipping. Myself and a lot of other people were joking, like, hey, maybe you guys should get down to 2-day shipping before you start trying to move on to 1-day shipping. I don't order from Amazon very much anymore, but I also found that a lot of times my items didn't arrive in 2 days. My girlfriend's one who will actually call up and complain, and they used to always give her like a month free or 3 months free of Prime when she'd call up and complain. Then I think they started giving her a $5 or a $10 credit, and at this point I think they just don't care anymore. They don't give her anything when she calls up, even if a 2-day Prime delivery winds up taking 7 days to arrive. Many stores price match Amazon, and if you combine Ebates and credit card cashback, you can usually get over 5%. I think most people don't want to mess with sites like Ebates, so I don't think that's really a fair comparison. I don't know. I think the value proposition is the same. Amazon has never really been the absolute cheapest. It's just a convenience factor of the deliveries that's nice. What is different is the fact that it's getting harder and harder to find the right product because they've bloated their advertising section and shrunken the actual product finding stuff. That and the fact they're getting spammed by cheap Chinese shit that gets rated very highly for some reason. That's because people either buy reviews or buy their own product and leave reviews. I bought lots of super high rated products from there lately and have been complete shit. Disappointing. That's part of the reason I started buying Cost. I'm guessing that might be Costco. I don't know. I think there's going to be more and more room for competitors to live in the widening cracks that Amazon struggles to service. I'm a proponent of Cost low SKU, high quality price model. I don't know why they keep calling Cost. I think Cost is the stock ticker symbol of Costco. People want choice, but they don't want to have to pick from 30 identical brown couches manufactured to the same spec at different factories. I think the future of retail could tilt towards highly curated experience like Cost provides. And this person isn't completely talking about experiential retail, which is what I talked about, but that's kind of what they're getting at. Let Costco send their sourcing experts to China to figure out who is the most reputable vendor of a SKU. I don't want to pick that shit. Also, I don't think WMT, I think that's Walmart, is the right anti-Amazon play. It's like buying Yahoo if you don't like Google. WMT is trying too hard to be Amazon when it should be positioning itself in emerging holes in retail. Walmart didn't learn the lesson from Target. Retail is not about simply being the absolute lowest on price. And that's true, right? Walmart is the lowest on price, but I think most people prefer Target. They have cleaner stores, better employees. It's just kind of a higher end experience, better quality items. Target, man, some of their like furniture and kind of like home decor type items are on point. Let's see. Amazon was decidedly less expensive than competitors in the 90s, early 2000s, but I recognize most people on here were potty training around that time and probably don't know anything about the pre-GFC landscape. As a do-it-yourself kind of guy, I can buy parts I need from Amazon and have it shipped to my house next day. Since I do pop for Prime, the amount of stuff I buy from Amazon makes Prime worth it for me. That and my wife like streaming some of the shows. It's frustrating to me that you have to wait a few days for automotive parts. And that's one thing, something like automotive parts, like especially if it's like a belt or something. I don't know if you're getting like a rubber belt, does it really matter where you get it from? But for other items like food, which Amazon has a huge problem with, counterfeit and expired products, well, something like that I maybe don't want to buy off Amazon. The reason the Chinese shit gets rated highly is fake reviews. There's third-party services now that analyze Amazon reviews for veracity, and for some products, fake reviews outnumber real ones. More often than not, the Amazon's Choice product literally has 3,000 plus fake reviews. And one thing's funny. If people can put out a third-party app that can pick out fake or counterfeit reviews, why can't Amazon themselves, with their own platform, do this to solve that problem? I got a meeting here in about 10 minutes, so we'll read a couple more and then I'm going to cut out. I use Amazon for all the bullshit I don't want to lug around. Toilet paper, paper towels, laundry detergent. Also, Prime is great because I don't have cable, so I have added it to my list of subscription services that I pay to watch TV. I hate Amazon's TV, Prime TV. Jack Ryan is a pretty good show. They might have a couple other of their own decent shows out there. But outside of that, I think their interface and user experience of their app is absolute garbage. And they mix in so many paid shows that, like, I have to scroll through 100 paid shows and, like, oh, I really want to watch it. Oh, it costs $1.99 per episode. Oh, I love that movie. Oh, you got to buy it. You know, I got to sort through so much bullshit that they're going to charge me for just to find the free stuff. Target and Walmart can get you those things just as fast and sometimes cheaper. Amazon doesn't have an advantage. Let's see. What's your point? I go to Amazon to buy it. I'm not price conscious. I just don't want to deal with it. I can even group items. So this guy's basically saying his reason is convenience or laziness, right? Like, I don't want to have to go to the store every week to get paper towels. I'll just let Amazon deal for it. I don't really deal with it. I don't really care what the price is. And I think that is Amazon's main proposition right now, right? You can set up subscription services. So if you want to get, a month's supply of coffee pods delivered on the first of the month every month, you can do that through Amazon. Maybe it's the cheapest, maybe it's not. One of the only items that I find is truly cheaper, and again, I don't buy on Amazon that often, but I do buy my Cafe Bustelo Keurig pods on Amazon. I guess shit for all I know that they're fake, but those are ones that never go on sale. Like when I go to the grocery store, I can normally find like some decent brands, Dunkin' Donuts or whatever else, Keurig pods for like $6 and some change per, 12 pods or something like that. Cafe Bustelos are like almost always like $7.99, $8.99. But I can go on Amazon and buy a 6-pack of them for like $30-$35. I think it winds up coming down to about $5 or $6 per box of 12 Keurig pods. So on 6 of them, it probably winds up saving me, $12. So that's one of the few things that I do buy on Amazon. I absolutely love Costco for these reasons. Their buying department is also incredible because they curate per the area of Costco's location. Number 2, Costco's are exactly the same, at least very few. The only problem sometimes is that Costco's stock is a giant version of whatever the product is. For example, if you want a garden hose, here's a pack that comes with 3 nozzles and 2 smaller hoses. Sometimes that's a bit excessive. My Prime ended several months ago, and they are on my personal boycott list now. They open up the floodgates to Chinese resellers, and the buying experience turned to absolute garbage. There are instances of brand listings being taken over by scams, bought-out reviews. It is too difficult to verify quality anymore. The prices are not any cheaper than B&M since they started collecting sales tax and got comfortable with their position. The last few items I bought on Amazon were lucky to make it 3 months. Might as well just burn the money and keep warm. So, it seems like overall people are feeling like the Amazon experience, the Amazon Prime experience has gone downhill and suffered. One of the unique propositions of Amazon is kind of the ease and convenience and the fast shipping, right? Like, it's not the cheapest. You're not going to find the best quality items, and it's not even really that great to search anymore, whereas it used to be a pretty cool site. So curious to hear your guys' thoughts. I just thought this would be an interesting video following up last night's video. That's all I got for you guys. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you are not subscribed, hit that subscribe button below, and we'll catch you on the next one.